joining us on set, we have a teacher, we have an author, we have an educate. Our guest is a teacher of literature in English. So please bear with us. The English that we use on this wake-up call, we speak out of the abundance of their heart.
Of creativity.
From inside.
We are past proving to people that we learned. We know we went there. We know we went there. People, that's why we have these jobs.
Maybe you could say hello to our listener and someone sing it for the first time.
Hello. I am Simon Eboku. Like Oje said, I'm a teacher, an author of Parenting Thoughtfully and also The Sowed Seed. I'm also a pastor at Christ Heart International Ministries. And basically I teach at Green Hill Academy. I teach English and language. Our promo is simple.
Yeah?
Yes, it's simple. You have like a caveat and say you don't go past this when you're spending.
I don't think
any school has that yet.
It is just, there's a culture already set in place.
You keep it simple.
We keep it simple.
Why?
Yeah, deco and then the dressing, basically we give them that. But because we are an inclusive school and we want everybody to fit in, so we do something that everyone can be able to fit in.
But some would urge you out and say that we're preparing the kids for the world out there, because the world out there, number one, it's unfair. Number two,
it's a flamboyant. It's a flamboyant world.
We can't all be equals. There are those who shop from
King. Where have you got that coward? you're starting to scare us.
I am using my literature.
Hey, so now you're withdrawing from your bank.
I'm using.
You shocked me.
The likes of King shop from Kalewe, and then there's us who shop from Game. So that's how the life is. I mean, the world is. So if you're showing the kid that exclusivity, we are all the same, aren't you preparing them for failure in life?
Not all the same.
Basically, we find a neutral ground.
Okay.
We just find a neutral ground. There's someone who can shop from Dubai, someone who can shop Kalewe, but what's a neutral ground?
If now we bleed the same.
Yes.
Neutral ground is acacia.
Neutral ground?
No.
So that we all have fun.
Interesting.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow. Interesting.
Awesome. The book Parenting Thoughtfully.
So would you give your child a chopper to actually?
If they ask daddy,
I knew
daddy,
you had to ask that.
Here's
question.
the thing.
Yeah.
Me and my friend, we want to split the bill. 2.5. We come in a chopper. Daddy, please support me. Side with me.
You're adding a lot of words. That's written in the whole thing.
If you had your friend who is the owner of these choppers,
for example,
simple as
Captain Mike Mukula.
Yeah, he's your friend.
No, wait. Don't
no
put
Mugamba
situations. Would you give your child a chopper to
better
their prom? Simple as that.
Can we send Diana to the shop to buy tomatoes?
Would you give your child a chopper?
If I can afford, why not?
Awesome. You win. I wouldn't. I still wouldn't. But anyways, we are here talking about parenting. Parenting styles and, ways of punishment. You called it another word.
Chastisement.
Oh, yes. And now we have an author in the house, and his book is about parenting thoughtfully. Good choice of words.
Simon,
Yes.
I know, like our opening statement was, no one goes to a school and said, now I'm going to emerge a parent, a certified parent. Most of us learn from observation.
On job.
And from our neighbors. What we see them do is what we also try to emulate if we've liked it. Now you being an author, is this coming from your father's chibokos? Inspired by the Holy Spirit? Yeah, tell us the genesis, how you start putting up a manual. I would call it a manual because we have less of this on the market when it comes to the subject of parenting. Many books on relationships, financing, but very few on parenting. So what's the source of this content?
I would say the source of this content, there are two. One, you talked about my father, and you're correct. I looked at my relationship with my dad growing up. A very tough man who had an on his women because he was polygamous. He had over 5, and then so to keep them you needed to be a tough guy. And so I was looking at my relationship with my dad was not so much there, because he was always tough. He would just come in during weekend and he goes back to work. But then I saw there was a gap that I had with with my parent, I did not discuss most of the things with my dad. Like, hey dad, today this went like this at school and what wasn't there. But then I realized parenting needs communication. You must communicate. You must have fostered that environment that allows open communication with your child. So when I looked at that and I saw growing up now, my dad wants to be my friend. Something that he did not cultivate when we're still young. So it created a gap even up to now.
Okay.
So I looked at that. Then also the other bit is, having taught for over 14 years, I was able, or I am able, to interact with the teenager and also interact with the parent. And I was able to see a gap in parenting. OJ, I can tell you that I know that parenting is done thoughtfully when I see a child. The way the child behaves, how the child does his or her things, the organization of a child, the sense of urgency in the child, the way the child plans, then I can know that parenting has been done thoughtfully. But I can also tell that there is this naughty child in class, there is this naughty child in compound, the way they behave, you know, the entitlement, and I can actually tell that parenting has not done
There's an absent parent.
There is an absent parent there. So my experience for over 14 years of teaching, I said, hey, I think I can bridge this gap. I can bridge this gap. I can actually put something there for a parent that can be able to see whether they are doing the right thing or they're doing the wrong thing, or there are areas that they need to improve. So basically, the book can help a parent to see what they're doing right, what they're not doing right, and how they can be able to.
Beautiful. Those of you who are watching us, this is the book we are talking about. It's called Parenting Thoughtfully, Navigating Parenting, a Teenager in the Era of AI, or in the AI era. This is how it looks like. I like the book cover. It's well illustrated. This is how the book looks like. Just get a close-up of that. Probably you get it. And it's available. We'll be talking about a little bit more about it, but more importantly, the whole subject of parenting. I know Diana had a few things on her mind as well. Diana should.
So, well, I was so much interested in the punishing bit of it. I don't know why I'm even starting from the punishing bit of it, but the way that different parents punish. We were earlier on, we were talking about, you know, how we've learned things from, you know, movies, and, you know, we've learned how to ground our children. What parenting or punishments do still work in this day and era, and how are they affecting our children as we apply them?
Thank you, Diana. One, in this era, we are not going to talk about punishment, but we're talking about disciplining.
Now, old parents still are stuck on punishment.
So the way we were raised was our parent made the best use of the rod. I think the scripture that obeyed was Proverbs 13. You know, spare the rod and let you spoil the child. They made the best use of that scripture. And so anything that you do, you know you're going to be beaten. And they will beat you for doing it.
Sure.
And they will beat you for crying while they are, you know.
Why are you crying?
Why are you crying?
I'm beating you and you're crying.
And if you don't cry, they will beat you. And so it's about beating. My dad, the moment they call your name Simon, by the time the last syllable is mentioned, you're already there.
The heart is almost out of your
And for you, it's
body.
like, okay, now what is it? What have I done this time? Because you know the next thing is going to be a beating. But we need to know as parents that times have changed. That is not how we're going to do. The Bible talks about the wages of sin is death. The wages, the payment for sin. Another version said the punishment for sin. So punishment is you're being punished, rewarded for what you've done, negative reward. Because you deserve it. And it is done with bitterness. It is done out of anger. It is done out of frustration. That is punishment. But in this area, we're going to say you have to discipline, what you call about chastisement. The one that the Lord loves, he does what? He chastises. he disciplines. Now, disciplining is basically coming up now with the tools that empowers a child to be responsible for behavior change. While punishment, you're the one who is responsible for the change, the behavior change of the child. A child is going to, I'm going to fear to do something wrong, but in the back of my mind is, if I do it, I'm going to be caned. So what is preventing me from doing it is the fear for being punished. But disciplining, you are going to empower a child with the tools that he is responsible or she's responsible for his or her own behavior change.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to do this because it is not good. I'm not going to do this because our values as a family does not accept this. So you empower a child. That is why there are certain tools like I write in that book what they call behavior contract. Behavior contract.
Behavior contract.
You actually come up with a contract
Where you reward good behavior?
where you and then you also reward
Reprimand.
the bad behavior. And everything must be written down and say, okay, I,
This
Simon,
parenting
Yeah.
of this era.
I, Simon Eboku, these are the things that
You're doing
I'm
that
going
with
to
your
do.
child.
Yes. And you have to do it together
You have to
With
be
a child?
in agreement.
with a child.
What age are we talking about here? Because I think you're talking about a teenager mostly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm talking about teenagers.
But I think it begins from way back. For you to
Agreement
able to
is
sit
number
with your child
one.
on a table, it's something you've cultivated from the past. Now you are able to sit down with them. Now teenager or muawa, you sit down with them on contract.
Because now King here
Now,
with
teenager, it is
with
possible with a
Anaya.
teenager. But when you talk about the teenager, then the twin. But when you're coming down into the there's also that level
Toddlers.
of the toddlers. There's also that level of the toddlers. But I'm so much of teenagers.
Yes.
Oh
because
yes,
I'm a secondary
let's talk
teacher.
about the
Focus on
teenagers
that.
now.
Because I'm a secondary teacher. Now, you need the contract down. And you have to lay down everything that they need to do. And we use positive. We don't go into the negative.
Give an example.
In
so
this
we-
house,
we-
an
So
example, I will do house chores. These are the things that we have to
These
do.
are my assigned roles.
These are my assigned role, to do house chores, to clean my room, to do my assignments, have good friends, all this. But you have also to put the consequences.
If I fail to do my house
This
chores,
would be the consequences.
However,
I'll be denied my bicycle for a week.
I hope parents are tuned in and are
So,
listening keenly.
You have those consequences, because if you have them without the consequences, then they will not have
You'll
any.
be a toothless backing dog.
Yes. And after that, so okay, now you sign here. So the child signs, and then the daddy signs. Then we have the witness to
Simon,
sign.
King looks in this argument is like,
No,
contract with a teenager.
He's frustrated.
I'm looking. I'm just trying to follow really and understand, because
Yes.
now here you are actually on a table with your kid, and I like the
Yes.
fact that you actually use more of the positives than the negatives. You don't say you don't do this, you don't do this. You actually say this is
You're
what
signing
you're
a peace
supposed to do,
treaty.
and
Yes.
then if you do this, this is what you do. If you don't, this is what happens.
Yes.
Then you sign an agreement. Kwegamba
Mukkiriziganyizza.
mukkiriziganya mu bukulu musayininga tontabaala sikutabaala.
Because radio, you're dealing with a young adult here.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And they can actually make right decisions.
Yeah, they can definitely, and their IQ is even better than yours. To be
Yes.
honest, at some particular point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Baba always speed they're touch base, and they're in the current dispensation at that particular time with real issues that actually are following them left and right and center. I'm looking in this book here and looking at millennial parenting, and there is digital natives, there is a financial overindulgence.
Then the helicopter parenting. That
What is a helicopter parenting?
I knew King would pick interest in that one. Why helicopter? I'm sick of them.
You're meant of
Helicopter wano. Helicopter omwana mukola muti omwana omutwaliza mu helicopter no.
Is it a physical helicopter? Yeah.
Oba omukwata n'omujjanga jinyuyi.
It is not.
You know, snaps fly like a helicopter, you know.
Radio is not the helicopter that you're thinking of a certain school. But basically, this is a style of parenting still. And where the
It's called,
millennial
like, is it your
parenting
own
will
concoction
find-
of a word, or is it truly there is your
No,
helicopter?
it's there. You can actually Google it.
Tugenda
You'll
ku
find it.
Let's learn
helicopteringa,
today.
tugenda
Now,
ku helicopteringa wana abaana.
The helicopter parenting is where a parent over hoovers over the child.
controlling bit of it.
Always over the child. You are monitoring every behavior of the child. Everything academic, you're there. These are kind of parents every weekend they're in school.
They don't
every
believe
weekend they're
in
in school.
Every
day,
day,
let me check. They suffocate the child with their presence. Everywhere. They will bump into the room. So what are you doing now? Have you had your breakfast? They are over-hovering.
Why are you oversleeping?
But with the teenager, it comes with the frustration. Because a teenager is a young adult who now wants space.
Private space.
They are seeking for autonomy. They are seeking for independence. And so any parent who is going to do helicopter kind of parenting will hit a snag. Because you're going to hit resistance from the child, and then they don't want you in your space because they're now teenagers. They're no longer the Prince Charming, my Princess Charming, you huddle and what. No, they want
so
their
this
space
is when
now.
we call them rebellious.
Now they get into rebellious. Especially now, helicopter parent is common with due respect, the single parents. The single parents, single moms, you know. And because now for them, they look at their children as their friends. As their friends, so they're always around and they engage them a lot. And with a teenager, in most cases they don't want that, and that's why you realize a teenager wants their space. They're always in their room. They don't want you. They will bring shoes. Was like, okay, I bought for you these shoes, and the child looked at the shoe, was like, that's not trending. And I was like, no, mom. And then they get frustrated. Was like, why are you not wearing your shoe? Why are you not wearing the shirt I bought for you? But for them, they're looking at their fellows. That's not what is trending right now.
Yeah, true.
But for you, you want them. This is the thing. You're going for a party. Was like, I bought for you this suit. Come and wear this suit. Then they're looking at the suit.
Like,
for them, they prefer to go on a short and Crocs. And then for you, on the only suit.
Interesting.
And I think most of the parents out there suffer this. They don't know how. They do it in good spirit. They love their children. They want to be in their space all the time, but they don't know that they overdo it.
For a teenager, it's not helpful.
Somehow the teenagers keep on communicating by like being rebellious, you know, running away from you.
I think also the helicopter parenting is also from a space of an insecure parent.
Yes.
And a low self-esteemed parent. Because when you're low self-esteemed and you're insecure yourself, you feel like something is going to go wrong, or this kid is going to do the same.
You want everything under your control.
You want everything under your control. And then that also, again, that's probably one of the reasons that even single parents, because
they carry that even in their relationships.
Because they were insecure, they lost that relationship, they were not comfortable with themselves. So I think parents also need to find a good bearing with themselves on how they need to identify themselves and know who their self-worth, who they are. Then when you build that confidence, and then you can actually parent very well.
And also sometimes the fear of the child making mistakes that you made. So the fear was like, is going to make a mistake, and then also lack of trust. They don't trust the child that the child can actually make the right decisions, and the child can actually move on.
The insecurities,
and so that also makes them to hover around their children.
You think your child is going to get pregnant at the same age you also got pregnant at? So you think, and then you do not know what to do about it. But how about you actually face that that enemy in your face?
Because you're hovering them.
And sit with your child. You know, Mugamba, I had you at 13, but 13 is not the right age to have a child at.
You will do better.
You will do better. Thank you very much. There is also now, I'm looking at, this book is interesting, guys. I'm looking at
financial overindulgence.
The challenges teenagers go through now. If you do not know the challenges teenagers face, make sure you look for this book. We'll tell you where to find it, and also how to discipline a teenager, and the mistakes you all parents make while trying to chastise and discipline a teenager. You all come in a Schwarzenegger style. Yeah, but there is also another two issues here that probably we'll talk about one, and then we get into the details of where people find the book. Now, the financial indulgence is what we have to also.
The ones who are extravagant, or the ones
what
who
is
like,
this?
Who overgive or who overprotect and never give at all.
Now, when you're looking at financial overindulgence, you're looking at a parent First of all, they are parents with money.
We are there.
Yes. Thank you.
I'm one of those parents with money.
Yes.
You're with money.
Confession is possession.
No,
Take
no,
it.
not confession
I
is
know.
possession. I am a parent with
With
money.
money.
Okay.
Yes.
He's a
Anyway,
parent
we
with
are
money.
Christians and we
And-
have faith.
Guys,
Because-
Sagara, Nina
Because-
Simon.
Because you have
Pastor Simon, first wait. Sagara bana bano.
Let's have our pastor. Let's have our pastor continue.
No, by the
King,
way,
you have money.
yeah, good.
Settled.
A lot of
Think-
money.
Not a lot. I am a parent with money.
with money.
Yes.
And so a parent with money, for them they think the problem of a child is money. The moment the child opens the mouth, I want this, you're always giving. You're always giving. And so you don't have this to say no.
Yes.
And yet it is actually okay. But it's not a must to give a child everything.
Yeah.
Exactly what I've been telling these
Everything
guys.
a child wants.
It
You want
is
to
not
give
everything.
everything.
And
Rest,
as
let the
telling
issue
you,
rest.
wait, I was just telling you that me as a parent, I don't give my child anything whenever they want, however they want. I sit down and think about it, and I'm like, yes, this I'll give you, this I'll not.
Also,
So
but
there should be giving a child money and giving them all these gifts and what it is not bad.
Yes,
But the word is over.
overdoing it.
Indulgence, that you give every time the child opens the mouth, before the word is done, you've already given. And so there is no what we call delayed gratification. There should be at least some delayed gratification.
Yes.
And delayed gratification does not mean you hate the child or you're trying to be so mean to the child. No. You must teach a child.
The ways of the Lord, that things
know.
don't come fast like
They
that.
don't just come like that.
Eh.
Because
Not an
money,
ATM.
money comes, the money
that.
that you have
Yes.
comes with hard work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so a child must learn to appreciate
Yes.
that I'm getting this money. It's a privilege, first of all. I have to, to appreciate that. And so when you're giving the child, it must come to a point of teaching the child as well that hard work is attached to money.
It's not
Yes.
easy, Kamu.
And these are the people, when they get into the world of work, they're always complaining about what, this salary is low, this what. First of all, they don't want to work.
They don't work.
They want to come and they're on their phones, and yet they're complaining that the salaries are low, the allowances are low, because they had this from home, that money was always there.
Automatic.
And the day you will not have money, the
don't
child will
have
not
them.
understand. They will not understand that, okay, now money is not there.
Yeah.
Or money has delayed a little bit. They will not understand, because for them they believe money is always there and money must be there. Why?
I actually strongly feel like if you actually keep giving your child money, you can't cultivate a prayer life with them.
Because scarcity, there's a way to it
Because
brings.
what are you praying about when everything is available?
Everything is there.
Pastor Simon, I want you to address this issue, which modern parents have picked on. I've seen 3 to 4 parents who give ATM cards to their daughters and sons, and they just keep topping up money for them. When I ATM card, it has about 500, and whenever it's done, the dad just says, "Oh, sure." What do you think?
Overindulgence.
Overindulgence.
Because
Do you ask for accountability when you? How do you tame that?
now that's what I was going to. Because before I give you the money, what are you going to do it with?
So you have to state
What
the
is it
purpose.
for? There should be the purpose. There should be a budget shown. And so even when I am crediting that, I'm putting money in that ATM, I know exactly what you're going to use it for. And then when you come back, say, okay, where is accountability? Because you have to teach them that. The financial discipline, you must teach them. Because if you don't teach them the financial discipline, they're going to become somebody's husband
But so
and somebody's wife to be.
Yeah.
And then they're going to do the same tomorrow. And by the way, before I continue, we raise children not for us, the parents, to consume. Children are consumed by society.
We raise children not for us to consume as parents, but we raise children
To be
to be
consumed
consumed
by
by
the
the
society.
society.
King
And
say
so
amen.
That's deep.
If you,
Hallelujah.
You are consuming one somewhere.
Yeah, I'm already consuming one.
because I will ask.
I didn't deeper revelation.
that coming.
And there is her right.
Because
Yeah,
look here,
kudos to the
when
parents.
we were
eh?
growing up, we were so many at home. We're about 6 of us at home. But right now, our mom is alone with a house help. But we are here. I'm here on Spirit TV, Spirit FM, being consumed by the society.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And so if I was raised badly, then the society is going to consume the bad
In you.
in me.
Yeah.
And so every parent, that's why I say you must put thought into this. You must be intentional into this. Because at the end of it all, it is for the society to consume. It will be so less now of you. Because the only thing I call my mom, say, okay, are you okay? What else do you need? Have you taken your medication? Have you prayed? That's what I do. And I go back maybe during holidays, you know, Christmas holiday, then we just have a moment together. But I'm in the society.
Oh, yes.
And if you fail to raise the child well, you'll not stop parenting. Your parent will continue.
Even after.
Even when you die,
Mommy's boys.
they will continue. Because somebody will be at work and they will always call the mom. Mom, now this work, I don't like this work. My boss is like this. And they will
can't be
always call
independent.
you. They will always call you. And when you die, they'll come to your grave. Mom, I wish you were here.
No. And guess who is coming? A 45-year-old.
Yes. I wish you were here.
Life
And
would have been
the-
easier.
Your life would have, you'll continue parenting all through.
Yes.
And there is no redoing it.
And speaking of continuing to parent, to do the parenting bit, there are parents that substitute over giving to the time they should have given their children. For example, they overwork, "Nkolera mwana wange," and then they keep on giving whatever they want, the children want, but they don't have time to discipline these children. They don't have time to speak into their children's ears. They don't have time to sit down with their children and be able to show them the ways of the Lord or the ways of the world, and to be able to tempt them into responsible children.
That's already failed parenting.
You see.
It's already you're absent. You're giving them, and of course now we are trapped with the technology.
Oh, yeah.
You're giving them the phone and giving them
And there is a way
everything.
parents give kids phones without noticing. Eh?
Yeah.
When she's crying, when the kid is crying, kumbe you're creating an addiction for that kid.
You're creating addiction.
Yeah, you're creating an addiction for the kid, and it's a terrible thing. Anyway, we our time is fast spent here. We can just do one thing that I've just looked at here in this book as challenges of teenagers. I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 challenges teenagers face. Now, this one here in particular, I don't think parents even pay attention to it. Identity crisis. Identity crisis. What about identity crisis as a challenge for teenagers?
One, radio. Number one, teenagers are strangers to themselves.
They are strangers to themselves. Now,
They don't know who they are.
They don't know who they are.
I suffered. I suffered.
Yes.
I went to 16 schools.
Trying to discover.
Oh, no, I discovered a hobby that it wasn't me. Yeah, that wasn't me. That made me crazy. Yeah.
So a teenager is a young adult who is struggling to find themselves. And all they do, and by the way, even you, the parent, they don't know you.
Hey,
They don't know you.
I thought I am the father in this house.
That's why a 16-year-old.
That's why you keep
present.
struggling.
Look at a 16-year-old
Yelling.
fighting with the mother. Eh? No,
And they don't know you, especially if you're absent. They will not know you.
yeah.
They will not know you. And the mistake that we do is that you wait when somebody is now an adult. Now, then you want to come in.
You have to be
And
present.
now you have to do this. You have to do this. You have to
Our
do
brothers
this.
who
You
are
frustrate
at
them.
Cheyo, and they are busy working and sending all the resources back home.
So when you look at identity crisis, a teenager is somebody who is trying to find himself or herself.
Yes.
And usually brings even frustration, especially if they don't find themselves.
Yeah.
What can I be in the future? They're struggling first with career. They're struggling. They don't understand themselves because they are undergoing what called adolescence. The body is changing. The voice is changing. The mannerism is changing. They're making so many mistakes.
Interests
and so
are
they
changing.
get frustrated.
Yeah.
And a teenager who fails to find themselves, when they grow up, fixation comes in. Fixation comes in.
Yeah.
And then they start living other people's lives. I'll give you an example. When we were young, we had a neighbor. who was working with my dad. Every time my dad would buy a new shirt, the following morning we'll find a guy with a similar shirt. The day my dad bought a motorcycle, the next month the guy had a motorcycle. Until my dad confronted
It's called
him.
role models.
Now, it is not role model. This man did not find himself. Now he's trying to live according to the other pattern that he's seeing.
Yeah.
So you're living someone else's life and not your life.
So when your dad confronted him, he said, "Stop copying me."
No. Actually told him, say, "Man, what are you doing?
Yeah.
By the time I'm buying a motorcycle, I have a house. You have no house.
Yes.
I have my kids at school. You kids are struggling to go to school. Why are you trying to live in the standard that you are not?" It was basically more like advice and words, confront. You say, "Look here, by the time you want the pick that I have achieved A, B, C, D." So anybody who fails to find themselves when they were teenagers, when they're young, when they grow into adults, they now start living other people's life.
So what's the
they
parent?
live by
How can we
impression.
help
So
them?
what's the parent's space in here?
Now, the parents' thing is you need to help the child. Number one, go into spirituality. Get into prayer. Because through prayer, you can actually be able to
Introduce
identify
this
yourself.
kid also to church.
Introduce them to church.
Yeah.
Introduce them to things, to hobbies. Ask them what is your interests. What do you like, you know. I don't say, okay, now you have to go, you do this subject. No. Which subjects do you like? What do you want to do?
What
do
makes you come alive?
Oh, yes. What do you want to be in future? What do you like? And find that thing that they like. And then you'll be able to
Support,
support them into that.
Yeah.
That child is able to identify themselves. But sometimes we want to live our lives in the child. Because me, I'm a teacher of literature, and so much I wanted to be a doctor, and I failed to be a doctor. So I'm going to force my child to become a doctor. And yet maybe the guy, the DNA is running all through. Also the guy wants to be what?
A
teacher or an author. And so you need to help the child. Take them to church. Introduce God to them. Because through God, I believe that spiritually you can be able to find yourself.
Yes.
And then find out the interest, the passion of the child, and support them.
Wow.
Help them that way.
You have spoke very well. Well, you can actually get more of this. This is, let me see,
easy read.
a 97-pager, 97-pager book that you can actually get to grasp and read. And it's interesting because it's divided in different topics that would be of your interest. Well, make sure you look for it. So how do people get this beautiful book here?
You can get that beautiful book from Mabirizi Plaza level 5.
Mabirizi Plaza level 5.
Level 5.
All right.
At the front desk.
Front desk
of Christ Heart Ministry. Or you can reach out to my numbers on the screen.
Oh, okay.
And it will be delivered.
Perfecto. So the numbers on the screen, but for those that are listening to us on radio, we'll definitely be able to read for you those numbers, which is 0705. Yes, 172 107. I repeat the Airtel one, which is 0705 172 107, or the MTN, which is 0774 455 734. I repeat it again, 0774 455 734, and then you get to talk to Simon Eboku. Call him Pastor Simon, and then be able to actually get yourself this beautiful book here.
Wow.
That is interesting. I think I like all these topics, and then most times we don't. Parents are the problem these days. They do not know how to tackle sexuality. It's in here. Sexual preservation. Now, sexuality and sex are totally different from sexual preservation here, as well as a different topic as well. Addiction, bullying, body shaming. Now there is romantic relationships. I don't think there is anyone who is in love like a teenager.
And in love with everyone. Like every day you catch a new crush.
Yeah, that love is something else. Now also sexual abuse is also another bigger issue in the society today. Kids are sexually abused from a younger age and all that stuff.
Unfortunately, our time doesn't allow us to go beyond this. However, we have just 2-3 minutes to spare, and would like to give them to Pastor Simon.
Yeah.
In your book, in your observation, in your work in life,
Speak
I
to a
know
parent out
there are
there.
3 or 4 things that you would like to summarize and speak to a parent out there on the subject of parenting. Please.
Thank you very much, OJ. I would just want to tell the parents that number one, things have changed in terms of the way we have to do the parenting. I know parenting can be very stressful emotionally and physically as well. But as long as you're able to learn new things every day. When you get into technology, learn new things every day. Technology is advancing every day. Growing up, we didn't have phones and what, but now we have the phones. Try. Don't say that, okay, now for me, I'm not going to go into those things. You know, technology, I'm not going to get into social media, what. It's the trending thing. Get into social media, find out what is there, and guide the children, guide the child. And above all, pray for your children. Every day, pray for your children, because children are vulnerable to all kinds of perversions that are existing in our society today. And it's only the prayer of a mother, the prayer of a father, that can actually sustain the child all through. So my final remark for you is that you have this. Don't get frustrated. You have this. Get your hands together, get your tools together, and parent together. You'll be able to raise a morally upright child. God bless you.